Kelazer's team was in trouble when his team was 2-1 down in the Caster Civil War and he had to beat Lambo, one of the most imbalanced Zerg maps of all time, Pride of Altaris. Things look even worse when he decided not to proxy rack, as you would think that would be his only hope to win on a map like that. But yet, he found a way to win it. Let's find out how he did it. Now, first thing I noticed is that he went CC first, just like Milky Cow did against Rainer, we're going with the CC first. I guess this is just a thing we're supposed to be doing now. I honestly haven't been playing CC first myself, but it's getting so popular, maybe I should just give it a shot. Who knows? There's so many builds you can do from it, it is a good mind game. But at the same time, if a Zerg scouts are doing CC first, they can be pretty greedy themselves. So I'm not sure where this resurgence in, CC first popularity is coming from. But we'll see. 2 gases after. Obviously, if you enjoy this content, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Kalazer himself also makes Terran content on YouTube, so make sure to drop a sub on his channel as well. I'll link in the description as always. He did provide me with the replays. If you guys want to thank him for this video, then, go and drop him a sub. He'll be very happy with it, I'm sure. Now, a bit more context for this, if you guys don't know what the Caster Civil War is. It was a, I think, $30,000 team league. This was in the semifinals. Kalazer was drafted by Team Rotti, and Lambo was drafted by Team Cats. The score was, just like I said, 2-1 in favor of Lambo's team. And I'm not sure why they put Kalazer out on Pride of Altaris, but I guess they wanted to maybe mind game, or I don't know. Maybe he was a sacrificial lamb, I really don't know. But TVZ on this map is so rough. And I honestly thought Kalazer was screwed. I was messaging him a little bit before the match. And obviously I did suggest him the proxy racks. Even if it's obvious, I thought, this map is so incredibly difficult. I cannot see a way to win this map without any shenanigans like that. But he decided otherwise, and I guess in the end that was a fantastic play by him. So unlike Milky Cow and unlike Gabe as well, he is going to go for a Reaper after the CC first. This is the more safer version. That is something I really like to see. Now this video is kind of a POV analysis, but I've never jumped on Kalazer's POV before, so it's possible that he's just too jittery to follow on his first person, so then I'll start observing myself. Obviously, I don't want to make you guys too dizzy. As long as it's manageable, we'll watch from his POV. Else I will try, giving my mediocre observing a shot. So he's going for a third CC. This is a very fast third CC, actually. I do know that he was planning on playing mech on this map, because Bio, honestly... playing Bio on this map is pretty much a no-go. Like, you have to be an absolute gold on this map to win with Bio, I think. At least you're gonna have to go all the way to the late game. So you can see he kept his Reaper at the home until those Hellions are gonna pop out. So Zerglings can't come in and do a massive amount of damage. Now, I'm actually kind of curious to how this build goes. I might want to copy this myself. Like, to be honest, guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say this map is insanely imbalanced. So, if you do a build that wins on this map, what I take from that is that your build must have been pretty damn good, So here we see. Hope you can save this Reaper. That would be pretty rough. Looks like he's going to be okay. Little bit of a nervous micro here. Keep in mind this is a tournament. Yeah, you can tell both of them messing up the micro pretty hard there. Little bit of nerves coming into play. Now, Lambo is playing Overlord speed, which normally is not great against a 3cc with a Viking. But since it's a battlecruiser, it is actually very good. It is really important to scout a battlecruiser early. It will always put the Zerg in the lead. They'll be able to make a Roach War and get their queens in position. Make spores at the perfect right time. For example, if you're not sure if it's... let's say it could be a Banshee. You have to make your spores way earlier against a BC. He can now time his spores perfectly. Not waste any money at all. And I know Lambo is a man of theory, so he probably knows his spore timings to perfection, if I'm honest. Now, Kalazer's gonna go for that double gas after the fusion core finishes. Okay, this is a bit different from the timings that I know. So I will try to keep that one in mind. Now he's gonna deny some creep. Now, denying creep on this map is gonna be a pretty long journey. I do think it is possible to keep the creep out of the middle. Like, you see the middle is a really big open field. So you can actually pretty well deny the creep in the middle here. And it's also really important, because if creep gets out of hand there, it's gonna be very rough. And here you can see exactly what I was talking about. Since the BC was scouted, Lambo will be able to throw down a Roach Warren already. And Roach Warren, in case you guys don't know, is just a really good start against mech. If you don't make too many Zerglings, if you get Roaches out from the start, you're already in a better position against mech than you would normally be. See if we're going to get another scan. Not quite. Another interesting thought is that Kalazer was considering going Blue Flame on this map. And the fact that he didn't do it is actually huge, because Lambo went for that Overlord speed. And I guess at the same time, playing on maps like this, where it is obvious you will do something cheeky, trying to play somewhat standard is actually a gimmick in its own way, right? Now, okay, let's give Kelazur's POV a shot, because he's about to teleport that BC in. Let's see how fast he really does play. I'm more interested in him actually attacking than his production, so let's hope he actually focuses on the units. So the BC is in the natural, there's a spore there as predicted. And he's just gonna fly out. Interesting enough, he has not grouped up his Hellions, so he's actually not gonna continue with his attack. He's playing this very safe, has Hellions at home. Sadly, they're slightly out of position. Now, Kelazur went... The follow-up here is completely standard, by the way. I really love seeing this, because he's basically following the same principles I would follow with mech. He got this double factory, then the double armory, skips the second BC to afford all of that, which in my opinion is actually a necessary step. If you do not skip the second BC for that, you're just delaying your tanks and your upgrades and stuff too much, and mech is not going to be that effective. Now, what impresses me even more is that, I'll be honest, I did not watch the entirety of this game live, and I didn't realize the start was this rough for Diego. You know, he's lost a lot of Hellions already. Actually, he did kill a bunch of Zerglings, that's good, but he hasn't gotten any damage yet, which is kind of, you know, imperative. You really have to do damage early game against Zerg, and he got his BC scouted. So this early game really has not been fantastic, which makes me even more impressed with what's to come, even though I haven't seen it yet. Now, BC is going to stay around. He did teleport that in, but he already has his TP out. His Yamato's pretty fast, actually. That is something that I don't usually do. He actually got Yamato before his 1-1. Honestly, I'm not going to criticize it, because I think it can be pretty legit, especially in this case. Once again, Lambo scouted everything, means Roach is faster, but also his Corruptors are faster. And Yamato is basically just, boom, one Corruptor gun every time. And in this case, a full energy queen, I think. There we go. So he delayed the upgrades basically to get a little bit more value on his BCs. Whether it's worth it, I don't know. I can see it though, so maybe it is. Now, Kelazur is going to scout that he's taking the gold. And he's also going to scout the Corruptors pretty soon. Which makes me wonder if he's going to set up some kind of defensive position, like make a bunch of turrets or something. It's always extremely hard to read whether Zerg is going to go for a Roach Corruptor all-in, or if they're just, you know, making Corruptors to defend against the battlecruisers. So he is actually going to make turrets, very nice. Yeah, what I like so much about this gameplay so far by Kelazur is that he's playing completely legit. I feel like he is almost playing, like besides the build, he's almost playing as if this is a normal map. Like he's basically taking on Lambo in a normal game, on a balanced map. He's setting up his perimeters, you know, he wants to be safe. And honestly, I respect that. I think if I played on this map, I really would not have the confidence to play such a straightforward macro game. I would, for example, try to skip the turrets, imagining that my opponent would not be all-inning me on a good map for him. But Kelazur is not taking such risks, so that is fantastic to see. I just love the confidence. It's the same when we watched the Milky Cow game earlier. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, Milky Cow against Raynor. I just love the confidence these guys have to go for those games on good maps for Zerg against players that are really good as well. So now he has 5 factories up already. He is going to be... Wait, did he only get 2 battlecruisers? Oh, that is interesting. So basically, by getting the Yamato... and getting his 4th and 5th factory pretty fast, he skipped the 3rd battlecruiser. Normally the magic number is always 3 BCs. Everyone always gets 3. And this is the first time I feel like I've seen someone get 2. I know in the past sometimes Terrans would get 1 BC, but 2 is a very weird number, I feel like. So Kelazur, this was actually awesome by him. He got into position perfectly in time. I'm not exaggerating. If he was there 5 seconds later, this base would have been screwed and he would have had to fly away. Or in the worst case, he still tried to fight and would have lost his army. But he was there perfectly in time. Obviously, this is a really good sensor tower, by the way, on this map. Look, it actually cuts off this path. With the sensor tower, you can't just, you know, cross this path without being seen. That's actually a fantastic positioning, guys. Definitely worth copying. Or, well, to be honest, maybe I would rather recommend you guys to not play on this map. But the sensor tower position is definitely very cool. So now is the part where we're going to start making some more CCs. He's getting 2-2 plus mag field. He actually went up to 11 siege tanks before making cyclones, which is a little bit unusual. That's more tanks than you would usually see. But yeah, I guess he just wants to be really safe. He wants to survive, which is a hard thing on this map. Because your opponent, a big reason why this map is hard, by the way. Oh, let's wait for this attack. Doesn't have blue flame yet, actually, so those Zerglings are tanking a little bit more. But he does have a lot of units. 2 BCs are coming in. Gonna have to fly that orbital away because of the sprays. Yeah, this does look like a pretty good fight for Lambo. Not necessarily efficient, but Lambo is obviously making more money at this point, which makes it rough. Gonna have to... Man, he actually had a lot of siege tanks, and it's actually gonna pay off as well. Just lose 1 to the bios, that's a bit rough. So to get back to the point I was touching on, a really big reason this map is good for Zerg is simply the gold base. Like, besides the features that it's open, it's big, which is rough for Terran anyway, this gold base is like the best gold base ever. It has as many patches as a normal base. It basically just adds 8 workers. Like, Lambo is pretty much on a 100 drone economy right now. And for Terran, you cannot really take that base early, but even if you do, especially with mech, it doesn't really help you. Like, you don't really need those extra minerals early on. Like, you can make an extra barracks normally. But yeah, since you're mostly trying to go to the late game beyond the 4th base stage as Terran, it doesn't really help that much. Now it's kind of becoming a dance. That's the building I was waiting for here, the Ghost Academy. He's also getting Blue Flame. I'm pretty sure he forgot that. I feel like that should have been finished by now. But I'm very happy to see that Ghost Academy. If you don't go for the Ghost with mech, we've learned it from Maru. I've also tried it myself at this point. If you don't go for Ghost, mech basically has no future. You're going to have to kill them at some point, or they will beat you with Brute or Infestor. Or maybe in Viper. So Diego is going to go for the Ghost. And one thing, you can kind of see what his plan is here already. He kind of took this forward 4th base. Like, he also could have taken this one, right? Or maybe even the gold. But instead he took this forward one. And now he's going to try to split the map by taking the bases on the left side. You see, Lambo's already kind of anticipating that by taking this base as his, what is this, his 7th base or his 8th? Which is pretty crazy. He's expanding so fast. And this, honestly, if you look at the minimap, I feel like you can see why this map is good for Zerg. This is what a normal Pride TVZ looks like. 8 bases against 4. The entire map is purple. And yeah, Kelezer is going to have a rough time. And this game, he's just going to need to have it from his efficiency. There, killing 40 links for nothing was pretty efficient, I would say. But yeah, Kelezer is going to have to do more and more as this game goes on. Max efficiency is what he needs. Let's look what it at so far. 7k against 10.5k, 50% extra for Lambo. That is already a pretty good start. I think it's nothing too crazy. I feel like 50% more for Zerg is pretty standard. So I do know Kelezer has to do a little bit more. He went up to 86 SCVs. Which, in my opinion, is a really perfect number. I usually try to aim for 85, so one more. We don't complain about that, right? And, okay, this is actually cool. Normally, people get double eBay with their Ghost, because the basic attack also does a lot of damage, right? But Kelezer here is only going for the armor upgrade. It's very interesting. I've also considered doing this, because you mostly get the Ghost for the snipes, and not really for the basic attack. Now, these last 2 fights have been incredible for Diego. I do like how that production tab is so big that it's literally blocking the fight a little bit here. But yeah, these fights have just been insane. Once again, I think Kelezer only lost 1k resources there, while Lambo lost 3.2k, which is obviously a pretty big deal. But now, the real units are going to come in. The Infestors with Neural as well. I think Neural just finished, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. And as soon as Neural finished, you always need to be on edge as Terran. Because if you ever get your Thors Neuraled, the game can end. If you have 5 Thors walking too far to the front, they get Neuraled, it's going to be over. So the first thing you need to see from Terran is, when you're playing mech, you can actually make a Raven. Oh, there's actually a few free Infestors here, maybe. 2 of them are going to go down, I think. There we go, that's very nice. If you kill the Infestors, like, it's such a good feeling. Because, yeah, if you get Neuraled, like I said, you're just screwed. So he's actually making Drilling Claws. I have no idea what that is for, to be honest. And I'm not sure what Lambo is thinking here with these queens. Like, I feel like the last 3 minutes or so, Kelezer has been taking some insane trades. Oh yeah, I wanted to say with mech you can actually get a Raven out. With Bio you can't, because you need to react on the starport. But with mech, since you're making BCs, you can actually go into a Raven. And you really need one against Infestors. I think Diego was pretty fortunate he found those few. Now here we go for a big fight. There's 2 Neurals, which is a pretty big deal, but it's only 2. It could honestly be worse. I feel like so far Kelezer is trading pretty decently still. I feel like we haven't really seen any snipes go off though. Lambo did definitely miss those Banelings rolling into the Ghost. Those Banelings could have taken care of all the Ghosts, but instead they kind of rolled into a tank awkwardly. Honestly, not the best fight from both, I think. Probably some nerfs coming into play once again. But maybe it's for the better that this fight was not crushing for either side, because then we get to, you know, continue enjoying the epic action here. Now, Kelezer has not hurried at all in taking too many bases. He's still just chilling on 5. I feel like at some point as Terran, what happens is you make so many CCs, you just pop on down there and there and there, and you try to take this one. But Kelezer's taking is very methodical. He doesn't even really have mining here so far. Income is actually even. I guess this gold is actually mining out slowly. Also lost a bunch of drones. Let's look at the efficiency update. 17k against 25k. And honestly, I would say that means the fight was pretty good for Lambo. Because I think the efficiency you want to get with Ghost Mech is a little bit more than that. Than he has gotten in that last fight. And to be fair, he didn't have a lot of Ghosts. And the Ghosts he did have, I feel like he didn't use them that much. I didn't hear a lot of snipes go off. That's the easy thing about following fight with Ghosts, by the way. You don't really have to look at it closely and analyze. You can hear like the pew 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 go off all the time. Oh yes, and there is that Raven finally. It's so nice because having one Raven with your army is cool. But like I said, with Bio, you usually just cannot fit it into your build. But with Mech, Mario has been doing it as well. After you make your BCs, you don't really want to use this starport anymore. Like if you make more BCs, they are kind of useless in the late game. So you can just make one Raven. Obviously, Ravens are very gas intense, so you do not want to make more than one. And Kelliser did go for the double eBay in the end, so he's going to get 2-1 instead of that 1-1. And now this looks like a very tricky position. I do want to watch this from his POV for a sec, because he's getting attacked on the left and the right side at the same time. Now here you can see he's scared of infestors. Now he realizes there are none, so he's going to go in. There's also no Overseer. Wow, that was actually a quick realization there. I would be really scared to do this because of a potential Overseer. Or a potential Infestor, sorry. Because if there was one Fungal on those, all those ghosts are gone. Kelliser being a bit risky there, but I appreciate it. It was a good move. He scanned, and honestly, normally I feel like it takes a while, you know, to realize that there's no detection or anything. But he realized it instantly, which is pretty impressive. You could definitely see that his head was in the game. Now at this point, the gold for Lambo has mined out, and Kelliser is already on 6 bases, so I feel like the map balance might start to shift a little bit already. I think Kelliser is not quite there yet for the big reason that against Zerg, your goal as a Terran in the late game is to split the map. You want the exact same amount of bases, right? But at this point, Lambo is actually mining both of these bases that would decide the split, which means Lambo would be up 2 bases by the end. And 2 bases I think is a little bit too much. My rule for TVZ is pretty much if Zerg is up 1 base in total, I think it's quite even. If it's literally split 50-50, I think it's good for Terran. If Zerg is up 2 bases, however, I feel like it starts going towards Zerg a little bit. So I definitely think that Kelliser needs to deny one of these bases ASAP. Now you can see Kelliser is mostly moving around his army in a ball. I really like the way he used the Raven. He just clicked it on the Thor, so you can't go wrong. Because it's very easy to just forget about your Raven, or maybe because it doesn't have an attack, you move it forward into the enemy's army. But he pretty much just clicked it on the Thor, which is a very good move. Can't lose it that way. Or well, you can obviously lose it. The biggest weakness of the Raven is honestly the Viper. Oh, the snipes. Oh, that sounded so... it's just too satisfying, guys. I love it. I think Kelliser at this point pretty much has every upgrade in the game besides the end upgrades for his Ghost, really. I guess he could... yeah, he's gonna make air upgrades. I don't know if he needs those, to be fair. Like, what air units is he gonna make? Ravens don't do damage, so... yeah, I honestly don't think he needs those. Though, to be fair, Liberators are pretty good in these situations. Liberators are definitely pretty good. Wait, what is he trying? He was trying to split some army off here, but I'm not sure what exactly he was trying to split. Now, Kelliser's POV does seem to be relatively manageable, so I'm gonna stay here for a bit. See, I'm so scared of the Infestors always. See, there's only 2 Infestors. I feel like Lambo does he actually only have 2. He has 5 now. Good EMPs there on the Infestors. Did take some damage on the Ghost. These Ghosts are all low HP, by the way. I really would not mind a medevac or 2 here. Look at those Ghosts, man. A few of those would literally die to 1 Baneling. And, you know, opposite of the snipe, the sound of a Ghost dying is actually just horrible. Like, a Ghost dying, so, like, it's just... It hurts. It hurts my ears. Now, here's... Wait, is that a nuke? Oh, I think he... Does he have a nuke? Can you see that? Oh, he does have one. Okay, that's what he was trying to split off. I thought he was trying to split off 8 Hellbats to the top, but it was actually a nuke. If you look at that, that's a very nukeable position, by the way. From this high ground over here, you can nuke that all day. Now, Lambo's gonna kill 17 SCVs, but I can pretty much guarantee you, Kelliser does not care too much about those SCVs at this point, right? He has, I don't know how many orbitals he has. He has, actually 5 orbitals is not crazy. I always say you want to go for the 8 orbitals. That's a really good number. But yeah, if you look at the army supply, Kelliser is on 140 supply of Ghost Mech. This is not 140 supply of Marine Marauder that loses to a bunch of Banelings. This is 140 supply of Ghost Mech. Now Kelliser's gonna go in here for this fight. Let's see. He scans, sees the Infestors are behind, gets a lot of snipes off. It's a little bit awkward. He did get the medevac, however. And Lambo's using all of his energy on fungals, which means that there's actually only one neural going off. The one Thor is doing a lot of work. It's actually killing the Raven. But in the end, one neural is not that bad. If there were 3 neurals there, honestly, Kellizer would have gotten absolutely smashed. Judging by the energy from those infestors, I think he actually had more neurals. So I would say that's a little bit of a mistake by Lambo to not try and get more neurals out. Because 3 neurals honestly would have smashed that army completely. And now he's going to lose the base instead. Which is not the biggest deal in the game. But once again, it kind of equalizes. Now, if you guys looked at the production tab just now, Diego Kellizer was making a battlecruiser. And then canceled it to make a Raven, realized his mistake. Because the Raven is just what he needs. And once again, I really feel like his head was in the game. Because those are small things that you don't notice. His Raven died to the Thor that was neuraled. I feel like that is not something you would usually notice fast. But he noticed pretty fast, got the Raven again. And in fights like that, you can really see the importance to just have the constant detection against the infestors. I think it would actually not be a bad idea to neural a Raven as well. But I guess Thors are just better. So, and actually, what's pretty common to happen is that they neural Ghosts as well instead. Now, let's see what Kellizer's army composition is going to be. He has 15 Ghosts, alright. If you guys remember the Milky Cow against Raynor game, Milky Cow was always around 10 Ghosts. Kellizer is up at 15. Obviously, this is mech instead of bio. So he's going to go up to about 11 Thors, 15 Ghosts, and he has 4 tanks and some Hellbats. So he definitely does not want too many tanks. And to me, that really makes sense. Because what tanks do in the late game usually is they shoot Broodlings and damage your own units for the most part. The best thing they can do is target Infestors, but if Zerg micros really well, that is kind of hard to do. I think in that case, Liberators are probably better. Because they can actually zone the Infestors pretty well without killing your own units. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? I don't think that needs any advanced explanation. Now, Kellizer is taking the middle base here. If you look at the income, it's pretty Lambo favored, but at the same time, I was going to say his income was not that high, which is true, but his gas is insanely high. 1800 gas a minute. That is actually an incredible gas income. His mineral income is nothing spectacular anymore. Like, keep in mind at this point, this base is literally mined out. This one is starting to get mined out, mined out, mined out, mined out. And then these bases, this one has been denied, and this one has just been constantly tortured, first by a nuke and now by siege tanks. So Lambo is actually not getting the time to mine from all of his bases. But since he did kill that bottom left base, and this base is only now getting saturated, the income still looks pretty good for him. Oh, this is a cool move. Using the, I don't know how many Hellbats this is, 13 or 11 or something. Taking out the hatchery in super speed, driving over, switching modes with the serverless upgrade. Very nice. Now, Kellizer looks like he's ready to go. And I always love watching these big fights just to see how they control their units. He does really... Dude, 151 supply of Ghost Mag, guys. I think... Sometimes it feels like Kellizer doesn't even need to take a fantastic fight. Oh, he gets the EMPs on Infestors? Wait, does he have the upgrade? He does, right? Yeah, he does have the EMP upgrade. I just want to see how he manages this. Gonna get a few Broodlords here already. Stuff like this is a really good start, by the way, because Broodlords are so snowbally. Like, even, you know, 11 Broodlords instead of 14, it feels like it's a pretty big deal. Now, this is all gonna come down to the spellcasting, especially from Lambo's side. You can see Diego's frantically looking around, trying to find the Infestors, because you just cannot afford to be caught off guard by them. He's looking everywhere for those Infestors. He went back to check if I don't know if you guys saw that. He went back to check if his orbitals were actually hotkeyed, so he had the max amount of scans. That's how important it is. If there's no big Infestor usage, Kellizer will smash this. Looking at this fight, though, he is actually entering a choke here, which is really not the best place to fight from. And here come the Infestor squad. I think we're gonna need to see some really good EMPs. Gets an anti-armor missile off, which is probably not gonna do that much, but it's gonna help. A few goes forward. He needs to get the EMPs on these. Let's see. 3 neurals go off only. And actually, those Infestors are not really staying alive. There's only a few left. One of them was even matrixed here by that Raven. In case you guys didn't know, that does cancel the neural. And the Thors are still alive. And I don't think this was the prettiest fight I've ever seen. I feel like if Diego was in a spread, in a concave, he would have smashed that. But he was kind of clumped up and his ghosts were kind of, you know, squeezing forward, getting fungled. Yeah, that was not the best fight ever, but he did manage to make it happen. I think his army was just so insane that it worked. 151 supply, 50 ghosts, 11 Thors, and a million Hellbats. And some siege tanks and a Raven. Yeah, if you have 150 supply, you can actually get all that. It worked out. I feel like it probably shouldn't have worked out, but it did. And at this point, like, Lambo is frantically trying to scramble units together from everywhere, but obviously it's very awkward. I think he might actually be... Yeah, he doesn't have a single larva, actually. I was wondering, like, he has a lot of money, but I guess there is just no larva on the field. These two ghosts are cloaked, dude. Normally, there's always overseers and stuff in the late game, but when there's actually not for once, it is so satisfying. Did you see, like, cloaked ghosts kind of frag you out? And Kelliser is surrounding him with the last units, and he actually takes it home. An incredible game of Pride of Altaris. I feel like I haven't seen quite a game like this on this map. And honestly, it was very different from the usual Ghost mech games. Here's the efficiency I was talking about, by the way. 26,000 resources lost more for Lambo. And if you look at the supply in the bank, Lambo actually still had more resources. A big mistake Kelliser made here, actually, by the way, in case you guys didn't notice, is that he wasn't mining from the gases. He was only mining from one of these guys, so he had no money. I was actually starting to get a bit scared here, because he can only make Hellions at this point. If he was mining gas, it would be over completely. But yeah, fantastic game by him. And what was so different about it is that normally with Ghost Mech, you're just sitting back. You're letting the Zerg come. But Kelliser, what he did is he made a 151 supply Death Army and just walked across the map. No Liberators needed, no BCs, and just killed him like that. Fantastic game. I'm proud of my boy Diego. Thank you for the replay once again. And thank you guys very much for watching this episode. Hope you guys had a good time. Don't forget to sub and like the video. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Adios.